name is Russb. I am an alcoholic. Thanks, James, and thanks everybody for coming out today. There's some faces in this crowd. It really means a lot to me to see you all here. Whether if this is your first day, first week, or you've been around for a long time, it's always great to have this place to come to and know that I'm no longer alone. And I think that's one of the greatest things of this program that I've realized is my whole life I felt like I was alone. And I don't always feel that anymore. I still get those moments from time to time where I'm sucked up in my head. And but I know the real deal is here. I'm going to say this on the front end, in this program, I was told in the beginning, you're going to have to find that higher power. When I talk about God, in the meeting and that, I'll say God, but I won't sugarcoat it, When I'm talking about God, it's the God of my understanding, and that's the God of the Bible, It's that carpenter from the New Testament. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not one of these people that came here, worked the steps, and life all of a sudden became miraculous for me. That's from the standards I had anyway. I've been through some emotional ringers in recovery, and I'm here today to tell you that you can go through that stuff, and it generally tends to be a part of it, but no matter what, you don't have to drink and drug anymore if you don't want to. I really believe that, this program is absolute divine intervention. This program's been around since, basically the 30s or before, if you really want to trace it back, and a lot of programs other 12-step groups have come out of Alcoholics Anonymous, and there's been, no matter what the hang-up is, there's been a lot of recovery that has been found through the 12 steps, whether it's gamblers or overeaters or you pick your anonymous group, they're out there. When I come here, I have, there's several addictions. I'll talk about my alcoholism. I know I'm alcoholic without a shadow of a doubt. Why I'm an alcoholic, it don't matter anymore to me. I've played that battle over in my mind time and time again. Is it genetic? Is it this? Who cares? Today it don't matter. Today I know it's about focusing on the solution, not on the problem. My first time I came around AA was probably in the mid-90s. And I always kid around about it because it is kind of funny today, but at the time I was married to a nurse that put people in treatment for a living. And of course during that time I was pretty heavy on the marijuana maintenance program. I smoked a lot of my alcohol because I could function, and it made me feel the way I wanted to feel. But I can tell you this, you take it away from me, it was straight back to the bottle every time. My drinking is not a story of drinking every single day, or drinking all these crazy amounts. My story is more about what happens when I put alcohol into my system. Like the book talks about, I do not resemble my normal self when I drink, or when I do drugs, for that matter, no matter what it is. And this is AA, and I do respect the traditions, but I'm going to talk about my story today, so I'm going to have to tell my story the way my story is. The first chemical I put in my system was alcohol. If I stay sober, the last chemical I put in my system was alcohol. It's kind of the bookends. And there's been other stuff in between it. I experimented with a lot of stuff. Tried different ways not to do this. I tried different ways to prove myself not alcoholic, but I'm a proven alcoholic. Here I am. I'm proud to be a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I wasn't when I got here. I didn't dig you old timers telling me all that bullshit. Someday you're going to be real happy about this, and I wasn't hearing you. Most of the people in here didn't know me when I got here, but there's a few in here that met me when I got here. And I'm going to recognize them, of course. My friend Truman over there, little old dude that looks like the Pope, who retired the other day. That's really not the Pope. He's Truman. My first time around in Jackson, Tennessee in the 90s, I can remember I went to a meeting, of course, and I didn't want to be there because, hell, I wasn't done. And I remember seeing this little old man get up, and And I'd heard that he's a counselor, you know. And I remember one Saturday morning I went and he was telling his story. I was like, holy crap, you know, this guy spilled more alcohol, ate more pills than I ever have, you know. And I'm going to split my time up with him here in just a few minutes and let him get up here and so he can prove just how damn sick he is too. I think his sobriety date's like November of '90 or something, but he's a sick, bad sick too. But I love him to death, and I'm gonna tell you, you know, it's amazing the way God puts certain people in our life at the exact moment we need them. And that's not to give the glory to the person, that's to give the glory to God. You know, it's not. I learned some lessons in early recovery about putting sponsors or people on pedestals, especially in Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, they're going to come off the pedestal, and I've experienced that in recovery. Just real briefly, you know, I'm from New York, and lived in Tennessee about 20 years. Of course, raised, if you would, Catholic, not overly practicing Catholic, but my family's kind of diverse. One side of my family is Polish immigrant Catholic people who I don't know of an alcoholic on that side of my family. And then there's my mom's side of the family. They're a bunch of Catskill Mountain hillbilly. I don't know anybody in that side of the family, probably ain't a damn alcoholic. You know, and that's just the way it is. And I was raised more around them. I don't know if that matters or don't matter. Hell, I know this. For me, drinking was just a part of life around me. I was surrounded by it. It was never a big deal. You know, even if at Grandma's house on Sunday, fights would break out, but I've always been around it. So to me, it was like a whatever that word would be, desensitization, whatever, to alcohol. And I hear other people talk about being raised in AA, and they talk about being raised in, you know, a teetotaler family, be alcoholics. I don't guess it really matters in the end. If I never picked up a drink, I don't guess it would matter. I know the first drink that I can remember is about 5 years old. And for me, the important thing is looking at the behaviors that surround my drinking and my using, and to find them patterns in recovery. And when I was 5, I can remember my grandparents would start out in the morning. They would drink coffee till about 10 or 11. And then they started drinking beer, and they drank beer all day long. My uncle, on that side, one of my uncles died of alcoholism. And then another uncle found Alcoholics Anonymous, been sober about 25, 26 years now. So I had my choices laid out. But at 5 years old, I would run around and I would pick up the beer when they'd set the can down, only if they weren't looking, because I like to get away with shit. And I would drink. I'd pick it up and drink, and I didn't drink it because I liked the taste of it. Lord knows beer tastes like crap to me. I was telling someone earlier, I've never drank a beer because it was hot out. Never drank a beer out because we were going for pizza. I drank because I liked the feeling produced by alcohol. That pattern was there when I was a little kid, because what I liked then, I loved that little burning feeling that I used to get right here. And if you've ever had that feeling, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know what it was about it. It was that and the thrill of getting away with it. And for me to look back that far, you know, hell, that was probably 15, 20 years ago. I remember picking up a can of beer one day and just slamming it back that my grandmother or someone had on the counter, and it had cigarette butts in it. Well, it made me sick, you know, when I'd done this. And, you know, it'd sound good here in an AA meeting. I said, well, I'm never going to do that again. Hell, I don't remember saying that, but I'm sure as a typical 5-year-old drinker that the thought probably crossed my mind that it wouldn't be a good idea to do this again, because I got sick from it. But, you know, hell, that didn't stop me even at 5 years old. I believe if drugs and alcohol done to me the first time I used them, what they done to me the last time, I might not have ever done them again. But it was so elusive through the whole deal. Of course, I'm the baby in my family, and I don't know if that makes a damn either. I'm the only boy out of 4 kids. I had my way with my grandparents, you know. I was everybody's favorite. I don't know if it plays in or not. And anymore, hell, it don't matter. I would drink between 5 years old and 8 years old. I can remember I had some neighbors, and they were probably 10 years older than me. And I've always had this thing about me. I've always wanted to be older than I was, more mature, if you would. Except for now, I'm like, I want to capture some of that youthful innocence again. You know, I want to, as my buddy Truman over there told me one time, he said, you know, sometimes we've got to grow down. I spent my younger years trying to be older. And now, hell, I act like a 10-year-old sometimes. Sometimes my wife would tell you it's more like a 2-year-old. You know, but I can remember at 8 years old, my sister graduated. No, 8 years old, second grade, I skipped school with these guys. And they used to buy me them cute little kids-size Miller ponies. You know, the little 8 and 12 packs. And they were so cute, made for a kid's hand. You know, they fit around them so good. You know, back then you could do a lot more and get away with what you could today, I'm sure. But I always felt a part of, or, you know, they were like big brothers to me. They talked about my other favorite drug, women, you know, and money and alcohol. And they were my heroes. You know, I looked up to these guys. I'm still friends with them today, the two guys. They're great guys, you know. Just the era we lived in. But I remember skipping school in the second grade and riding around with these guys. And they introduced me to peppermint schnapps and some other orange bullshit, tango, some, I don't even know what it was. But, you know, I drank that day with these guys. And I had my first blackout at 8 years old. You know, I don't know if normal 8-year-old drinkers black out or not. I know for me, I did. I didn't stop, you know. I got sick and vomited everywhere. That didn't stop me. I still kept going on. So I think for me, that whole underlying thing has always been there. That more thing, whether it's money or drugs or the buzz or the high or whatever it was, you know, that I chasing at the time, that need for more has always been there with me. Thank God it's been there for me about AA too, because when I got in here, this gave me a high I ain't never experienced in my life. I got to know Russ finally in here, you know. But like I said, in the deal with that, I remember that day, last thing I remember, they took me to my house and I got in my bed, and my mother was a nurse. And I can remember she come home and, you know, I played it all off with her, covered them up with my shit, you know, oh, Mom, I'm sick, and da-da-da. Well, you know, miraculously, I was better the next day. I could go to school. And I remember coming home from school, and everything seemed really cool. My mother come through the door, and my parents were divorced. My mother's a disciplinarian. She come in and wore my ass out, you know. She's one of them kind of moms. And she said, I know what you done. Hell, it's all over the school. Your sisters told me what happened. You know, I went to a small school, K through 12, 800 people. Everybody knew what I'd done. But the strange thing about it was, that was more like a damn notch in my belt at that age. I didn't look at it like a bad thing, only around my mom, because I knew if I didn't, I was going to get the hell beat out of me again. I didn't want no more of that. I didn't suffer from wanting more when it comes to that. I didn't, all them years, between then up into junior high school, you know, my buddies started experimenting with drugs or drinking or whatever, but I just didn't do it with them, you know. And that's the kind of drinker, and my patterns of drinking are the same way up until I got here. It wasn't about how often I did it. It wasn't about how much I took. It was about what happened when I did it. You know, I'm a blackout drinker. I planned my drinking. I started on Monday thinking about Friday. And by Friday, I got it built up so damn big in my head, look out. You know, it's on. And I remember my sister graduated from high school, and we had a keg party for her. You know, and hell, I was always kind enough to volunteer to pump the keg. Somebody had to do the dirty work. And my mother told me, she said, you can have one glass of beer. Very good. So I got my cup, and I used that same cup all damn night long. And it's one of the great things about being an alcoholic, you know, it's the positives. We can hear what we want to hear, you know. You know, struggle with that. But I remember drinking, and she had to go to work. So it was my sister, of course, my stepfather was there, and hell, I was drinking all night long with these guys, and I felt like I was one of the guys. And I can remember waking up the next morning in my bedroom, laying in a puddle, and I'm 12 years old, laying in a puddle of vomit, my face stuck to it, with my sister is just a couple years older than me, her boyfriend and her boyfriend's sister, who was an RN, looking down on me. That's the first time I remember that feeling that I experienced from there on out every time I drank. And that was, I'm a piece of shit. The next day, there's nobody rougher on Russ than Russ is in here and in recovery. Sure the hell ain't either when I'm drinking. Because I felt, when they were looking down at me, I could feel it in my bones. I felt less than. I felt like a piece of shit. Now around this time, I did start having them thoughts. I ain't doing this no more. And lo and behold, I really didn't through my junior high, my senior high years. You know, I found some other drugs that I liked, like work. You know, I'm a workaholic. I love money. I love to work because, I don't know, you know, I learned in here by doing some inventorying. I've had this desire my whole life to prove to my father I didn't need his ass. You know, I can make it on my own. You let me get a hold of a big fat ass paving contract and I'm just as high as the day I do dope. That's how I feel. It will change the way I feel. A good old mood altering, mind twisting woman can change the way I feel. Success can change the way I feel. If it makes me feel good, damn it, I can get addicted to it like that. You know? But I've learned this today, some of that's just okay. I don't want to not be Russ, you know. It's about learning some moderations and being able to identify things. And I know one thing, some of the other stuff, I've never gotten in trouble over there with that stuff the way I did with drinking and drugging. I've never been in trouble with the law yet because of drinking and drugging. I should have been. Hell, they've been looking for me before. I know what it's like to duck when you see the damn cops go by the house. But that don't mean that I'm not smart enough to clean that shit up before it can get executed on me either. You know, I know how to play the game. I don't want to play the game anymore. I just want to be okay in my skin. I want to do good things. I remember when I first got sober, I was talking to this dude, JC, Truman's contemporary down in Jackson, and I said, you know, my grandmother Burzak, when she died, she was 80 years old, and this woman had a faith in God and people and all this stuff that I just wished I had it. And at the time I was 37, he said, you're 37 years old, how can you expect to have her faith of an 80-year-old woman? You know, this woman went through a lot of stuff. That's what I want for my life now. I just want to be okay in my skin. And I know today, I have moments in recovery, I feel like shit. I've experienced some very painful stuff. I've been through a divorce in recovery. I've been through financial reversals in recovery. And by God's grace, I haven't had to drink over that shit. You know? I broke shoelaces in recovery. And then, if you know what I mean, for us, that can be tragedy. You know, break a nail, or somebody says, boy, you just don't look good, what you're wearing today is, you know, that can be just as bad as major tragedy to the alcoholic, you know. Today I'm aware in a lot of ways not to make excuses, not to start blaming, because what I learned in my inventory was I blamed you, them, and everybody else for every damn drink, every drug I ever did. If you had my dad, you'd drink too. If you were born into the family I was born into, you'd drink too. Hell, it's expected. Like old Truman likes to kid around over there, says, hell, I'm American Indian. Hell, I had no choice, you know, because of the alcoholism levels of Indians or whatever it is. But, you know, the beauty is, you know, God like put him in my life to teach me how to laugh about this shit. I wasn't laughing when I got here, you know, and I'll say it in meetings a lot of times. Isn't it nice to be able to come in here and laugh? And we some sick-ass people, because we'll laugh about some tragic fucking shit that most people are out here wanting to kill themselves over. You know, we can find the laughter in it. And I think that's a big part of recovery right there. You know, we can sum that whole serenity prayer up into 2 words. There ain't no kids in here. And Truman told me to write this on my mirror in the beginning. He said, go in there and write fuck it on your mirror. You know, because I make mountains out of little issues, you know, and then I drink over them. And then I blame that. It's the addiction. It's crazy. I don't have to do it today. I laugh about shit. Now, it might be a process to get to laughing. I might have to throw some shit. My poor wife here, if there was an Olympic sport for ducking, she'd get a gold medal, you know. She kids me all the time because I do. I explode. I don't know, somewhere around the 5-year mark, it was like all this anger that I thought I dealt with in the steps started coming back out. That right there. From hero to zero. Real fast. But you know what? That's okay today too. Because I know one thing. I'm not about hurting nobody else, but that shit's got to come out. You know, it's like eating poison all them years and stuff, and I got to get it out. And I'm okay in my skin today to be who I am. You know, and I know this, I'm not near as sober as I like to think I am. You know, I might be dry on any given day. And then there's days where I feel I got some pretty decent sobriety. I'm not going to kick God in the ass and say, oh, you know, I'm not sober and all this bullshit. I'm not going to knock God's work. I haven't stayed sober by Russ's grace. And I believe what that book says, nothing, absolutely nothing, happens in God's world by mistake. And if there's some lines in the book, the top 5, that's one of them for Russ. Because when shit hits the fan, I can take that and say, okay, nothing, absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake. Okay, so somehow this is I'm going to grow from this. And I've learned in here, I grow in these valleys. And fuck, you know we hate the valleys, for the most part. Unless we want to make you feel sorry for us, then we love the valleys, you know, how we do. And if you laughed, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's done that. This has been a whole different, just change of life thing for me. It did not give me my life back, like you hear, and it's kind of cliche, you hear this in Alcoholics Anonymous. It didn't give me my life back, it gave me a life I never known. Very true. Very true. I remember when I was just a little, I was like 10 or 12, I had a brother-in-law and a family friend, this old dude, and they always I call it grab ass. They always wanted to be messing with me, and, you know, it was like, when I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, I had that stuff stuffed inside of me. You know, I felt like I did something wrong because these guys would want to, they never really grab me, but they'd play this game like with me, you know. And inside my head, I struggled with that until I got here and realized, hell, they were just doing whatever it was. I know they didn't ever touch me. But, you know, I come in here, I was homophobic. I was all these phobics. God put these certain people in Jackson in my path. And hell, I got 2 buddies that I know are openly gay. And I'm comfortable enough in my skin today to walk up, hug another man and say, I love you, man. And mean it from my heart. Before, I've been like, y'all are going to hell. Because I'm God's spokesman today. You know. And He's put me in charge of telling you folks you're toast. But that's the life-changing stuff that happens in Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcohol and drugs are my solution. It's how I dealt with life, and they worked for a long damn time. You know, I look back now, they quit working a little ways before I thought they did. You know, and I can laugh about that today, and I'm grateful for every drink, every drug I ever took. Because I wouldn't know you people. I wouldn't be a part of this community. You know, I say it in meetings that never felt normal. But look, I was taught for this hour I'm here, I'm normal. Because y'all are some sick-ass people too. You know, whether you like it or not, whatever, own it or don't, it don't matter. That's the beauty of this thing. For an hour a day, I can come here and be around my kind of folks. Now, I got some ways I'm like-minded with other people in this world. I'm not just exclusively to this, you know. But if I went up to, say, another contractor, I said, you know what, man, shit, I'm just crazy as hell. I seen an armored car ride by today, and I thought, damn, as bad as I need money, I'd love to rob that son of a bitch. You imagine walking around this world telling people that shit? You know, they'd lock us up. But I can say it here and laugh about it and be okay. And I know it freaks out some newcomers and some old timers. And like they say in Jackson, pull your robe up before you trip and fall and bust your fucking halo. Because I'm not here because of my merits. I'm here because I was maybe maladjusted to life or something. I ain't been sober that long. I still have crazy thoughts. And I've talked to people with 20, 30 years that are still having these crazy ass thoughts. And I don't know if normal people have them. But hell, in here people admit it. I think that's pretty cool. You know, I remember I did my first fifth step with a guy in Jackson. And there was one thing, and it wasn't a sexual thing. It was just one thing I couldn't come to terms with talking about at the time. And the person that I found to share this with got sober about a month after I did, and I'll be damned if he ain't sitting in this room tonight. That's pretty cool. You know? It's just about getting that garbage out. Isn't that right, Doctor?
Amen, General.
I love you, brother.
I love you too.
It's, Alcoholics Anonymous was cool. I've been to meetings all over the United States, and it's weird the way this thing works. You can walk in a room full of strangers and feel like, hell, I know these guys. I've been coming to meetings the past couple of years up here because of my work tends to be more up here than back down in Jackson anymore. And I made some really good friends in this place, man. I don't have the number of friends that I had in early recovery in Jackson. But I think I got just the right friends that I found up here. Because some of y'all, I'm attracted to your sobriety. You know, I take a little piece from James and a little piece from you, and a little piece from you. And that's where mine comes from. You know, I'm allowed to come in here and take what I need, what seems okay. And I'm okay to leave the rest or put it on the shelf to a later time when my mind evolves to a place where I can agree with what you said. I'm just okay with all that today, and that is a miracle. Because when I got here, I was the most judgmental sucker you ever seen in your life. I remember a woman said in Jackson one time about God being a woman. Shit, I broke camp, man. I got out of there. I was like, oh, hell. You know, I read the Bible. I know what it says about all that, and I'm out of here. I didn't come here to save my soul. I came here to save my ass. And I don't care if somebody today calls God a doorknob, the group, a chair. I'm quite sure God probably is just glad that they're trying to learn how to find Him. He's so damn big we can't miss Him. You know? I've had it put to me this way. You can't give a baby a big old steak, you know? Let them call God what they want. But see, for a judgmental person like myself, that was hard to swallow. You know? Until in recovery, I had that shit turned back around on me. You know, and I was going through a divorce, and I had two preachers come to my office and tell me, thou shalt not get a divorce. And I said, thou shalt get your ass out of my office. You know? That's the way it is. You know, and if I'm making a mistake, preacher, I'm going to be the one that has to deal with it, not you. So I feel that way about everybody today. I don't know what anybody needs to do. You know? And it curls my skin. Some of the shit you hear, you know? People wanting to sponsor people talking about, it sounds like treatment. This is real simple. That's the trouble. We can't keep shit simple. I can't. You know? I work with people and sponsor people. I do it just the way that, and I'm going to say my couple sponsors have done it with me. I've never called Truman a sponsor. He'd kill me. But I'll tell you one thing, he's one of the best friends I ever had. You know, in them days when I was coming out of my skin in early recovery, me and Truman would jump in the truck and we'd go to Lexington, Tennessee, to NA meetings. I wouldn't trade that shit. I'd rather go with Truman Masters over there to an NA meeting than I would pick a celebrity and say, go hang out with him tonight. I'd rather do that. This is my people here. Y'all are my tribe, you know. Truman, we had so much fun. And we'd be laughing, and I'd forgotten how to laugh. But I learned in here, you know. And I think the trick to it is I was allowed to get involved. And I say allowed to because that inner keeper inside of me put its hands down or whatever, you know. I'm not going to say really nothing else because I want Truman to give a little talk right quick. And if we go a couple minutes over and you got to leave, that's fine because I know he's long-winded at times. But he is, and for everybody that's, you know, friends and family, my in-laws come down from Kentucky, and I'm grateful for y'all. I love y'all, and somehow I've adopted right behind them a son that's older than me. I haven't quite figured that one out yet. In true alcoholic fashion, on the way up here, I was like, shit, I was supposed to call people and remind them, and I called James, and I said, shit, James, it's short notice, about an hour, but I remind you, you know, my birthday's today, and I want you to come, and he showed up, and I'm a blessed man. I got some things going on in my life right now I do not like. I will not settle for them. They don't match up with my goals and my dreams. But I know this because I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous and I'm not all fucked up today. I can get through this. And I'll go to a higher place because of this. You know, you can take anything from me. There's a couple things you can't have, though. One, you can't have my integrity. You can come take my house. You can take my dog. I'd be a little upset about it. Don't let me catch you. A lot of stuff, but you can't take that, and you can't take my damn sobriety today. Because old Big Bob down in West Tennessee says it all the time, you know. As long as I got that, and I'm coming to meetings, and I'm working with people, I stand a chance. And I believe it, because I've seen the lows. I'm looking for this, like he says. He always goes, psst. I'm looking for that middle ground. Psst. Anyway, if no one's told you today that they love you, I do. And if you can't accept that, that's all right. The day will come when you can. I don't mean it in any homophobic ways or any of that stuff. I mean it from one alcoholic to another. If you're just coming in, just keep coming back. You know, and you'll hear a lot of stuff, fake it till you make it. Do whatever the hell you got to do. Just get your ass and your mind together in one place for an hour in a chair. Get involved. Talk to people after the meeting on the porch. I know my wife gets sick of it, but when I walk out of a meeting, I'm going to stop on that damn porch down there. And I'm going to talk to people. And it's because I love you, but it's because I love Russ today, and I didn't when I got here. And I know if you new people coming in don't keep reminding me of the pain, I'm screwed. So, with that, thank God for Alcoholics Anonymous.